Over the years, Pixar Studios has created some of the most funny, touching, heartfelt, and exciting animated films to date. But one thing you probably didn't know is that they all take place in the same universe, and each film is just a smaller part of a larger story.
What?
Sounds crazy, right? After all, how is a movie about an old man with a flying house related to a movie about a world dominated by automobiles? Or how would a film about superheroes be connected to one about talking monsters? Well, the Pixar Theory, thought up by John Negroni, uses subtle details in each film to discover a larger story involving wars, apocalypses, and corruption spanning over 3,000 years. So what exactly is this dark story told by a series of animated family films about exactly? Well, let's find out. The first film on the Pixar Theory timeline is Brave, which follows the story of a young princess named Merida who in the beginning of the film discovers a powerful magic called the Will of the Wisps. The magic of the wisp is what turns her mother into a bear and also causes animals and objects to act similar to humans. Eventually, the wisp magic will lead to the birth of superheroes. Fast forward a few hundred years to The Incredibles. The film follows a family of superheroes in a world where superheroes maintain order and peace. That is until Buddy, a wannabe superhero turned villain, creates self-serving AI bots who he soon sees begin to eradicate superheroes, who serve as their main weakness.
Syndrome's remote!
Buddy, or as we know him later in the film as Syndrome, also develops the highly advanced zero-point energy, an electromagnetic energy that exists entirely in a vacuum. Eventually, this energy is absorbed by toys. Now that toys are alive with a mind and conscience thanks to Syndrome's power, they soon figure out that human love is another powerful energy source upon which they thrive. This explains their constant desire to be played with by their owners. Around a year later in Toy Story 2, the toys discover the danger of being isolated from humans after meeting Jessie, a cowgirl abandoned by her owner who she hates because of this. This hatred towards humans is not only held by toys, but also animals as well. In Finding Nemo, we see early on in the film that fish are incredibly advanced. The fish abhor humans for polluting the sea and capturing fish for experimentation. One victim of this is Dory, which led to her short-term memory loss. As resentment towards humans grew throughout the events of the film, animals developed more curiosity and intelligence. We see these effects of intelligence in Remy, the star of Ratatouille. Remy displays many advanced human characteristics in the film, such as reading and cooking. It's also the first film in the timeline where we see interaction between humans and animals when Remy is able to control a chef by pulling his hair. However, Remy's rat clan strongly fears and hates humans, unlike him.
Hello.
In Toy Story 3, it's now been over 10 years since we last saw the toys, and they have gone through a lot with humans. They've been abandoned by their owner, Andy, as he has grown, and have been physically abused by young children when they are donated daycare.
Lotso!
For these reasons, Lotso Huggenberry despises humans and tries to take care of toys himself. All this tension suggests a possible machine and object uprising against humans. Towards the beginning of the film, you can see a postcard in Andy's room addressed from Carl and Ellie telling him to get rid of his toys to avoid the uprising, which brings us to our next film in the timeline. Carl and Ellie from Up are aware of the machine and toy uprising, which is why they plan to live in solitude. However, after being forced to give up his house to mega corporation By and Large, Carl seizes his final chance to live in solitude and flies his house away via thousands of helium balloons. Carl later encounters an army of dogs led by his childhood hero, Charles Muntz. He discovers that they can communicate with humans and sees their distaste towards them as well.
I'm getting prunes and ditches! Picture creep! Who are they?
This is a tipping point for the animals, and years later the war between humans and animals begins. The year is 2100 and the war is over. When animals rose up against the humans to stop the pollution, the machines stopped the animals and helped the humans win the war. However, this victory did not come without a price. In gaining victory against the animals, the machines accidentally tipped the balance of the earth, forcing the humans to live on a spaceship called the Axiom. The remaining machines were left behind to populate the earth.
You're in love with me.
Talking automobiles now happily roam the earth without the presence of humans. However, there is but one major problem that will soon lead to their downfall.
Welcome, Sir Miles Axelrod.
Thank you, Mel. It is very, very good to be here. Now listen to me. Big oil. It costs a fortune. Pollution is getting worse. I mean, come on, it's a fossil fuel. Fossil, as in dead dinosaurs. And we all know what happened to them. Alternative energy is the future.
In Cars 2, the world is in a deep energy crisis, with oil being the only way that the cars can survive. We soon see that the All-in-All Corporation is using green energy as a catalyst for a fuel war to turn cars away from alternative energy sources. All-in-All is owned by and Large, and its fake clean fuel eventually pollutes the earth to the point where it can no longer sustain life. Wall-E is a small trash compactor robot and the only machine left on Earth after it ran out of resources. Due to his fascination with human culture and his friendship with the cockroach, he is able to maintain his personality and fulfillment and survive on Earth, while all the other humans and machines live on Axiom. Wall-E is essentially a robot Jesus, and him and his love Eve must save the human race and start a new beginning on Earth again. During the credits, we see that the plant that Wall-E obtains grows into a tree. This marks a new beginning for non-mechanical life on Earth. The tree that grew in Wall-E later becomes a tree in a bug's life. Insects have evolved, they are now stronger and can live much longer than before. Humans are now much less of a threat since they are far more scarce, which is why they aren't mentioned by the insects. Over the next several hundred years, animals and insects quickly evolve into dominant species due to the radiation caused by and Large. In Monsters University, animals have all evolved into monsters and accidentally wiped out humanity. Monsters are falsely taught that humans were toxic and from another dimension. This was because monsters became worried about being eradicated and altering history. A few years later in Monsters Inc., monsters realized that humans were a powerful source of energy needed to sustain life, and wiping them out was actually a huge mistake. Thus, machines are created to let monsters use doors of time travel to human generations to harvest energy. Then we meet Boo. After Sully left, Boo never got over him and became obsessed with finding out what happened to him. She remembers that monsters use doors to find her and later figures out how to time travel using wooden doors. She uses this power to go back in time to find the Will of the Wisps and create magic to find Sully by using wood. She leaves two pieces of evidence behind that can be spotted in Brave, carvings of Sully and a pizza truck, her two favorite things. However, she is unable to control where in time she ends up, thus she is the one planting all the Easter eggs throughout the Pixar films. But where is Boo now? After all, we never do see her reunite with Sully. Well, we don't exactly know yet. However, Pixar currently has several films in development that will soon likely give us clues to answer this question. But until then, we'll just have to make our own assumptions.